Across lonely rivers, silent forests, and star-flecked backroads, ordinary people sometimes collide with the impossible. I never liked night fishing. Too many shapes out there you can't name. But Charlie talked me into it. We anchored beside that abandoned shipyard, truck headlights still glowing on the bank. The air smelled of diesel, salt, and something metallic I couldn't place. Just keep your line in the water, Cal, I kept telling myself. You promised Charlie you'd try to relax. A sudden ripple snapped my attention. Waves slapped the hull hard, as though a barge had passed, except the river was empty. I reached for my flashlight, but the beam failed, coughing sparks. Charlie froze. Listen, he whispered. At first it was only the hum of mosquitoes, but then a pulsing drone swelled, low as a church organ. I looked up. 50 feet above, a glowing oval hovered, white-blue light pouring over the river like liquid fire. For a breathless moment I considered diving in, but my legs refused. A panel slid open. 2 beings drifted out, pale, wrinkled skin, no necks, carrot-shaped heads with conical protrusions where ears should be. They moved in a jerky glide, limbs stiff as mannequin arms. They can't be real. This is a hallucination, swamp gas, anything. One seized my left arm. Icy numbness shot through me. Charlie screamed, a sound so raw it didn't sound human. A second creature clamped metallic pincers around his biceps. My feet left the deck. The river vanished beneath us as if some cosmic stagehand had yanked the scenery away. Inside the craft, a soft fog glowed lavender. The walls pulsed like living tissue. A single eye the size of a hubcap descended on a serpentine stalk, scanning me from boots to scalp. I tried to pray, but thoughts fractured under the weight of that silent examination. Something slid into my nostril. No pain, only the taste of tin and spoiled fruit. I caught my reflection in a chrome panel and almost screamed. My pupils were white. Just let me wake up, please. Without warning, I was on the dock again, knees buckling. The craft shot skyward, silent as falling snow, until it winked from existence. Charlie was kneeling, arms wrapped around himself, rocking. We stumbled to the sheriff's office. Under the fluorescence, our skin looked grey. When the deputies left us alone to fetch coffee, I heard a metallic clank against the barred window. A 3-fingered hand, pale and puckered, slid down the glass and vanished. They never believed that part. Even now, when the river fog rolls in thick and the night insects fall silent, I feel a phantom grip on my arm, and in the hush before dawn, I still taste spoiled fruit on my tongue. Tree felling pays lousy, but it beats staying broke in Snowflake. We'd finished a long day on the Mogollon Rim when that green glow bloomed through ponderosa trunks. I jumped off the crew truck to look. Couldn't help myself. Curiosity has teeth. It drags you closer even as fear gnaws at your calves. The craft was a flattened dome, no seams, humming like a beehive in a barrel. I felt the forest breathe around it, every branch and needle vibrating. A column of blue-white light struck me square in the chest. My legs telescoped. I remember thinking I'm being electrocuted, and then nothing. When vision returned, I was lying on a translucent slab. A thin membrane arched overhead, swarming with pinpoint lights like plankton. 3 child-sized beings watched me, bulbous heads bobbing softly. Their eyes were the black of a midnight pond, no whites, no lids, reflecting my terror back at me. Move, Travis, but my limbs were syrup. One raised a small metallic rod. Panic surged. I flailed, knocking it aside. The creature stepped back, eerily calm. Doorways irised open ahead and behind, and I dashed through the first, pounding along a curved corridor. At its end stood a tall figure in a tight helmeted suit. Human, I thought, with a flood of relief, but when he turned, his eyes were empty gray lenses. He guided me wordlessly into a cavernous bay, where the ceiling reflected a swirling star field that wasn't the Arizona sky. Rows of transparent coffins lined the floor, each holding humans in silent repose. I glimpsed Mike's flannel sleeve in one. My shout echoed back, unanswered. A mask lowered over my face. Sweet vapor flooded my lungs. I tried to count backwards, but numbers dissolved like ash. I awoke sprawled on the highway outside Haber, lights of a gas station flickering ahead. 5 days had vanished. My beard had sprouted. My clothes hung looser. Friends hugged me, then recoiled. A triangle of skin on my ribs was smooth as a newborn's, hairless and pale. Hospital scans later found the scarred tissue of a healed puncture beneath. Sometimes, drifting towards sleep, gravity tilts and I feel corridors curving under my feet, a gentle hand guiding me back to the slab, reminding me the doorway out is also a doorway in. As the security patrol jeep bumped along the East Gate fire break, I kept one eye on RAF Woodbridge's perimeter lights and the other on the forest, where something pulsed red, orange, then brilliant white. The radio crackled with chatter about a downed aircraft. I'd served 2 tours in Germany. No crash site ever glowed like that. We left the jeep. Frosted bracken crunched beneath boots. My Geiger counter, standard issue after a decade of nuclear jitters, ticked faster the closer we got. The craft sat in a small clearing, black glass-like hull, triangular, maybe 10 feet across. Symbols ran along one side, raised glyphs shaped like domino dots and chevrons. I touched one. A jolt ran up my arm, vision flooding with ones and zeros, a torrent too vast to swim. I staggered back, heart hammering. Focus, airman. Record everything. Training kept my panic caged. The hull shimmered, colors shifting like oil on water. Then, pop, a blinding flash. When my sight cleared, the triangle was gone. In its place hovered 3 orbs of cold white light, each the size of a basketball, circling silently. They spun faster, merged, then shot upward, threading between pine trunks like silver needles, before vanishing into the stars. On the ground, the icy grass was pressed in a perfect equilateral triangle. Radiation spiked twice background. Colonel Holt arrived, tape recorder clicking, light alloy notebook in hand. My throat trembled as I tried to describe the glyphs, but English lacked the angles. That night I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, binary digits scrolled across the dark. On New Year's Day, driven by compulsion, I wrote pages of them in my journal until my wrist cramped. Years later, a mathematician translated part of it, a series of coordinates pointing to ancient sacred sites, Giza, Nazca, the vanished Bimini Road. I never showed him the final sequence, the latitude and longitude of my childhood home in Illinois. Each December 26th at 2:44 a.m., the minute I touched that hull, I wake drenched in frost-cold sweat, my fingers tracing glyphs on an invisible surface, waiting for the orbs to finish drawing their triangle on my ceiling. The fire towered like a beacon, just as we'd planned. Fuel-soaked logs, stacked teepee style to serve as a signal if one of us capsized during the night fishing run. Chuck, Jack, Charlie, and I paddled out under a crisp scatter of stars. The lake lay black and glassy, our canoes slicing twin wakes. A bright sphere emerged over the tree line, pure white, no flicker. I figured it was Venus until it dropped toward us, reflections smearing across the water like spilled milk. My paddle slowed. Behind me, Chuck whispered, "That thing's coming in hot." The sphere halted above the cove, so close I could see a faint grid etched on its surface. A cone of light beamed down, wide as a farmhouse. The canoe glided forward without our strokes and slid into the beam. My skin tingled as though ants marched beneath it. Move, Jim, paddle. But arms dangled uselessly, willpower drained as if the beam were siphoning it. In a blink we were on shore, canoes grounded, the bonfire burned down to embers. 4 hours had gone. I tasted copper. Charlie's pupils were dilated. Jack's shirt was on backward. None of us spoke. Language felt brittle. Back in Boston weeks later, nightmares came. Lying naked on a curved table, eyes pinned open by light, insectile figures pressing instruments against my spine. I'd wake screaming, sweat-soaked, back muscles on fire. An artist friend hypnotized me for fun. The session ended with me curled on the floor, sobbing, "They drilled my skull." Medical scans showed a small metallic fragment behind my right ear, encapsulated by tissue. Surgeons removed it. It vanished from the tray before pathology could tag it. No one believed us until all four, hypnotized separately, drew the same luminous craft and the same spindle-jointed beings. Last autumn, I returned to Eagle Lake alone. Midnight hush settled, loon calls echoing. The water went dead calm. Then behind the distant pines, a white orb flared, just for an instant, like an eye opening, remembering. Sometimes I think the beam never set me down at all, that I'm still suspended in its silent grip. The rest of my life only memories they let me keep until they need me again.